So hello there and welcome back to the channel. This is Mel's Gaming here with a very special The Hunter Call of the Wild video. Now I have been continuing my Whitetail Great One grind here on Revontuli coast since we got the Great One a few days ago. Now like I said, I have been continuing it. I have been bouncing between a few different grinds, mainly between Whitetail here on Revontuli and Moose on Medved. And I did a couple of runs of Whitetail last night, then a couple of Moose runs, then came back to do another Whitetail run, and as I was running around checking all my zones, this ended up showing up. A big rack Great One Whitetail. That was just the most incredible thing to see, because I actually spotted him from the other side of this lake, and I just saw the rack, and I was like, there's no way there is another Great One here on Revontuli. It's absolutely insane. I've only shot, I think, 3 or 4 diamonds since the last Great One, and then this guy shows up. It has been absolutely wild. Completely and utterly nuts. I don't know how I've gotten so lucky to have another one spawn so quickly. Like I said, I've had a few diamonds. One of them was a big troll, and actually a 97 kilo troll. It had a really weird, like, tight rack, and the tips were almost touching of the tines, and it was just really weird, and unfortunately that ended up trolling. And then a couple of actual diamond scoring level 3s. And then this guy shows up, and it was just insane. I don't know what to say. I really do not know what to say. Just insane. Absolutely insane. Like I said, I spotted him from the other side of this lake. I was just doing a completely normal run. When I opened my map there to show where I am on Revontuli, you probably will have seen the other spots of hunting pressure as I was just bouncing from one zone to the next, shooting whitetail, trying to get respawns. And there's like one zone at one end of this lake and then this zone at the other end, and I get to this zone via another tent, but I can see this zone from the other end of the lake when I'm hunting the other zone. And I just looked across here to see what I was going to be shooting in this zone, and this guy was stood here, which the last run, there was just a couple of sort of medium-sized level 2s. They weren't even like the nice rack level 2s. They were sort of thin, wiry, small-ish level 2s. And then I look over here and there's just one huge buck stood amongst these couple of smaller ones. And I just lost my mind. I was like, there's no way that this is real. It was, again, just like a moment of, what? Like, what do I even say at this point? Now, I have mentioned this in my other videos, and I will mention it again. I have changed my grinding style slightly since we got the first Great One fallow. Sort of towards the end of the first Great One fallow grind, and then through all the grinds recently, I have stopped shooting the smallest of the species that I'm grinding, because basically I got told it's like shooting myself in the foot, and, you know, that it was wasting my time, and it might even not really help, and maybe even negatively affect my chances of getting a Great One. So I decided, okay, I'll change things up a little bit, and I'll stop shooting the absolute smallest of the species, so like small level 1 whitetails and stuff like that. And I have just had such insane luck since then, and these Great Ones have just kept showing up. So I definitely think it's had some effect. I really do. But this is still insane to me. This is still crazy to get this many Great Ones this quickly. I really cannot, like, I don't understand. It's just so wild. And this is only the 3rd time I've ever seen a big rack Great One whitetail in game. The first one I got was in single player on Rancho del Arroyo. It was my 2nd Great One ever. That was back when whitetail were the only Great One in game, and it ran right past me. That was an absolutely insane experience. That was the first time I ever saw a big rack Great One whitetail. The second one was actually on Revontuli in multiplayer. Quite a few months ago now. That was just completely wild. I was in a multiplayer session, and it was a completely legit session. Everything was completely legit, and I checked it through for a long time. And then I ended up finding a Great One, which was just wild, and it was a big rack Great One whitetail. And that was one of the reasons that I wanted to do some grinds for whitetail here on Revontuli, so that I could actually spend some time filming and photographing, a Great One, and spend some time with them here on Revontuli, because obviously with it being in multiplayer, that second big rack Great One, it was just get it down as quickly as possible, because multiplayer is multiplayer. You never know if you're going to get kicked or lose connection, or so many things can go wrong. So I just had to get it down as quickly as possible. But I prefer to spend time like this just filming and photographing the great ones. And I really wanted to have the opportunity to do that in this beautiful scenery here on Revontuli. And we had it with the great one whitetail the other day, and now we get to have it with a second great one whitetail, which is just incredible. Now, I did the same thing that I've been doing with my great ones recently, and ended up following this guy to a couple of his different zones, and I was really hoping to get some nice pictures of him in this early morning sunlight at his feed zone. However, this was the most uncooperative group of deer and great one that I have ever tried to photograph. They were in such an awkward spot. They were mostly out of the morning light, like the light was catching the top of this sort of little hill here, and they were feeding sort of away from where the sunlight was, and they were just being really difficult to get close to. There was always does or the smaller bucks blocking my way between me and the great one, and it was just really, really difficult to actually get any pictures that I was really, really hoping for with this guy. But I did manage to get some nice footage of him here in his feed zone, and just getting to see the different angles of his head while he's feeding and looking up and looking around, you really get to appreciate the sheer size of this rack. I mean, it is just insane. I think the only comparable rack to this is the big non-typical Great One moose, which is the one moose rack I'm really, really hoping to get. And I think that this is like the miniature version on a whitetail, because it just looks absolutely crazy. It is a really, really incredible rack. And like I said, I've seen a couple of them before, but it doesn't change how incredibly wild this is to see in game. Like, you know it's such a special animal, and seeing that rack in the distance and the spotting outline coming up, and you just see these huge non-typical antlers, it's always that feeling of just disbelief for me. I sit there normally for like quite a while, just having to process, okay, we have a great one on the map, now what do we do? Which is always just, I don't even know how to explain it. It's such a cool feeling for me personally, and it's why I keep doing these grinds. You know, I'm constantly doing great one grinds at the minute. I've got all of the diamonds now off Emerald Coast. I'm missing one diamond in the entire game, and that's actually mountain hare, which is another reason why I'm spending time on Revontuli with the whitetail. If I shoot, sometimes see a mountain hare, I'll shoot it, and I hope that, maybe I'll get lucky somehow and a level 3 will eventually pop up. I am going to be multiplayer hunting, trying to get a diamond mountain hare too. But outside of that, there's some rares and stuff I'm wanting to look for, but it's mainly great ones that I'm really looking to add to my collection of trophies at the moment. And, for whitetail, I'm really, really hoping to get the drop tine rack. That is my favourite rack for the great one whitetail, and it's one of the racks I've never had. So I keep grinding them in hopes that, something like that will eventually show up. I'd love a drop tine great one whitetail, or, a mismatched rack great one whitetail. So that's why I'm grinding for whitetail. Same with, grinding for moose. I'm hoping for the quad paddle rack and for the big non-typical rack. So, there's constantly things that I'm looking for, and that's why I keep grinding for these guys. And they keep showing up, so I'm not going to complain, and I'm not going to stop grinding. I'm just going to keep going with this and see what I can end up having turn up, because this has been the wildest experience over these past few weeks for me. It's been just completely nuts. Just completely nuts for these guys to just keep showing up. And like I said, every time I see that 10 fabled, it's a huge adrenaline kick for me. It doesn't get old. Like, for me, it just doesn't get old. It's the same with seeing, 9 legendary pop up on like a red fox or something. Those really rare things to see, they don't get old for me. It's what keeps me coming back to this game, is that feeling of, oh my gosh, there is something that is really, really rare to see. Whether it's, like I said, seeing 9 legendary pop up on something, or 5 medium on certain species, that make diamond at level 5. That always is really exciting for me. I still get it when I see a level 3 whitetail, even though I've shot so many of them, because I've shot well over, it must be over 15,000 whitetail at this point. It was over 12,000 when I had 5 great one whitetail, so goodness knows how many it actually is at this point, but it must be quite a lot, and I still get excited seeing level 3s. It's like, oh, that's a really big buck, that's really cool to see. And then seeing a 10 fabled obviously just takes that to an even higher extent. And it's my favourite thing to do, is to chase really rare and hard to find and, unusual trophies. And I love non-typical antlers. So, getting to hunt, like the whitetail, which obviously they're all non-typicals, except for like the big typical rack. And, the moose, which are all apart from the one there, mostly non-typical racks as well. And of course, getting to see the different furs on the different great ones, that they have those unique furs. It's just so cool for me. And it's why I keep chasing these guys. I just absolutely love the experience of it. But now, it is time to take this guy out. And this time I decided we would use a bow. And this time we're going to use the Razorback. And we're going to take this guy at 20 meters. And he drops on the spot from that tracer arrow. And it was such a relief for me to see him go down, because I'm always really nervous about taking down great ones, and especially using a bow, just in case something goes wrong. But as you can see, that arrow is about pretty much perfectly where I wanted it to go. You can see the vital blood, and obviously he dropped on the spot. So I knew it was a good shot, and it meant I got to breathe a big sigh of relief immediately. And we're just going to take a couple of quick pictures of this guy on the ground, because he is just magnificent. I mean, he is just incredible looking. What an insane looking deer. Absolutely insane. I would love to see an animal like this in real life one day, because just incredible. Incredible. I love antlers. Antlers in real life and how they grow, the biology absolutely fascinates me. And getting to hunt something in game with a rack like this, to me, is just so cool. I mean, just everything about it is just wild looking. Absolutely wild. But before anything goes wrong, we're going to pick him up, and he is a great one. We do have the medal. Nothing went wrong. Managed to get him through the vitals. Everything is good there. He scores 633.84, 107.06 kgs. Absolutely monster great one whitetail. So cool. Seeing that medal pop up never gets old, and I'm always nervous. Always. It just until I've picked it up and I see that medal come up and it says great one and I know I've got that medal, it always freaks me out. I just panic. I really worry that something's going to go wrong, and even if it says vital blood, that somehow it's not going to have been a vital. And it's even though there's relief when you see vital blood on the ground, for me it's still always just a little bit tense until I actually see that great one medal pop up. And it's just such an amazing feeling when you do see it pop up. It's really awesome. And getting to look at the true score for this guy, actually looking at the figures here on the true score is absolutely wild. Length of abnormal tines, 254.24. It's just wild. What an incredible buck. An absolutely incredible buck. These guys are so cool. The Great One Whitetail have so much variety, and it's one of, there's a reason that they're one of the favourites amongst the community and one of my personal favourites. They've got the 6 different racks, and then they can have mismatched racks, they can have really weird and wonky racks, like the last Great One Whitetail that I got. There's just so much variety with them, and they're just so cool. I mean, who's not going to want to see a buck like this in game? I mean, it's just the coolest thing. And it's I think that there's no one that wouldn't get excited when they see something like this appear on their screen. And I'm super happy with that shot. It's about perfect for where I wanted to place it, so I'm really super happy with that. And it's just cool to have taken another great one with the bow. I've taken 3 great ones with 3 different bows. I've taken a red deer, a moose, and a whitetail, and it's just so cool. I think it adds to it sometimes when you take them with a bow. It's a little bit of extra risk, and I don't mind a little bit of extra risk when taking a great one, but I'll only take risks that I feel I can still accomplish. I'm never going to take a shot that I feel like I'm going to mess up, or there's a good chance of me messing it up with one of these. They just mean too much to me. I never ever want to mess up a great one. It is literally my worst nightmare. And that's why every time it comes to taking the shot, I get sick, almost sick feeling, with nerves, that I'm going to end up messing one of these incredible animals up. That's literally just the worst fear for me. I would be so upset to mess one of these guys up, because they are absolutely incredible. And like I said, it never gets old for me seeing one of these guys. It's just such a rush. And I wish I could capture that rush feeling of, oh my gosh, that's a great one, and actually share that, because it's such a cool feeling when one of these actually shows up and you see that 10 fabled, and it's the hitch in your breath and the kick in your heart of, damn, it showed up. And for me, it showed up again recently, but goddamn, it just doesn't get old. Not for me anyway, and I'm certainly going to keep grinding, still going to chase after those specific great ones that I really would love to get. Every great one that I get is a huge privilege, and I don't take it for granted, but I am going to continue to grind for those specific ones that I would really, really love to find, including the drop time great one Whitetail. But this was just incredible, and I couldn't be more pleased to end up getting this. I am so, so grateful. What an absolutely incredible buck. And like I said, I'm going to keep grinding, and as these things pop up, I'm going to keep sharing these videos. And, I hope that things do continue to show up. I know that my luck has been insane recently, but I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that things carry on, because it's been absolutely wild. And it's such a fantastic thing for me to be able to record these animals and to follow them around, spend that time with them, and then to get to share these videos. It means so much to me, and I really hope that all comes across, because it really, really does. Now, moving on to take a look at him in the trophy lodge, and I realised I have 3 Big Rat Great One Whitetail. So this kind of had to happen. I took the other 2 Great One Whitetail that I had actually in the one hallway, and I decided to put them in this multi-mount with this buck from today. And it's just absolutely wild, because we have 3 Big Rat Great One Whitetail here. One from 2021, one from 2022, and one from 2023. And they are the 3 different common fur types. We have a tan, we have a brown, and then we have today's one, which is a dark brown. Absolutely insane to have 3 Big Rat Whitetail, which is just insane, and then for them to have the different common furs. It looks so good. I didn't know that the other 2 were the different fur types. I literally had no idea. But now, because, they changed the labels from everything being common to everything having its own fur type label, I just didn't even realise that they were the different common furs until I put them all in this mount. Literally, I didn't even realise until I placed the multi-mount on this platform and got to see that they have the 3 different common furs. It just looks absolutely nuts. Such a cool multi-mount, and I think this is going to have to just stay as this multi-mount now, somewhere in the lodge. To have 3 Big Rat Great One Whitetail in a mount is something I never thought I would ever achieve. And then it's just so perfect with them having the different furs. I love how that looks. It's so pleasing to me aesthetically. I absolutely love that. That is it's just so cool. I'm so, so pleased with this. This is definitely one of my favourite mounts in this lodge. And, this is my ultimate lodge. This is where I'm putting all of my favourite different mounts. But, yeah, this one is really cool. So, several years of work in this one mount. Like I said, 3 years, 3 different bucks. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. 2 from single player and 1 from multiplayer. Absolutely incredible. And then, of course, finishing that mount today with this guy. What an absolute beauty. I am so stoked about this. So, so stoked. It looks so good. This mount is so, so cool to me. It means such a lot. Like, there's a lot of hours that have gone into this mount. Like, even the one from multiplayer. That's a lot of hours of looking through multiplayer and then finally getting lucky. So, all in all, there's been a lot of different work that's gone into this mount, and I'm super, super happy about it. Really, really proud of this mount. But that is going to be it for this video. I really, really hope you have enjoyed it. It was unfortunate that I couldn't get sort of more footage of this guy, especially in his feed zone in that early morning light. But I spent hours last night, literally hours, trying to get footage of him, and he just would not cooperate. Those were the best clips that I got. And, sometimes things aren't going to work out, the same every time. You've got to get lucky with the animals having good zones, like the last Great One Whitetail did. This guy didn't have such good zones, but is still an incredible animal, and it's still an incredible experience nonetheless, and I couldn't be happier with how this all turned out. But that is going to be it for this one. So thank you so much for watching and for all your support as always. I keep saying it and I'm going to keep saying it. It's been really humbling to see all the support recently, and it really does mean the absolute world to me. So thank you to each and every one of you for all of your support. It's really just fantastic. You guys are awesome. But that is going to be it for this one. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.